Try GoToMeeting free for 30 days. Visit gotomeeting.com/techpodcasts. AT&T is showing off a new Femtocell called the Microcell that lets cell phone users basically create a mini cell site inside their home. The downside? It'll cost them $20 a month unless they fall into a certain AT&T approved class. Now, what's actually behind these devices, and are they actually going to work ever? Or is it going to take someone to actually make these companies wake up and paying a gigantic service fee isn't the answer? We bring a couple technology analysts to talk about it. First off, Matt Buchanan from Gizmodo. Matt, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Also, we bring in Ross Rubin from the NPD Group. Ross, thanks for joining us as well.
My pleasure, Randall.
So when I saw this morning, I've been kind of excited about the Femtocell idea because I happen to have T-Mobile, and for a really long time, T-Mobile had really bad service. When they added UMA, which is the ability to call over Wi-Fi, I was pretty excited because, you know, my cell phone's coverage wasn't the greatest. Now AT&T, who's probably one of the most notable, poor networks out there, has released this microcell. Maybe iPhone users will actually get on it a little bit. I don't know, Matt, what's your take on the microcell on the whole, and sort of, what do you think of this Femtocell idea?
Well, on the whole, if you look at it, they're kind of the last to market with one of these sort of network extender things, because obviously what the Femtocells do is they extend the network and use your internet connection to carry your phone service through your internet pipes. So Sprint has one called the AirWave. Verizon has one called the Extender, and T-Mobile obviously has the hotspot at home. So they're kind of late to the game actually in this thing. So it's not a new concept. It's not something new, and it's not something. Oh well, the iPhone's blowing up AT&T's network, so now they have to do this thing. They're actually pretty late on this thing.
They're lagging to market, but regardless, the Femtocell concept is. What do you think of that in general? Like as far as using a cell phone extender to use your internet connection to make regular calls.
The idea is great. The problem is I don't think everybody's really going to pay $100 for a box that makes their crappy cell phone reception better. I mean, it's not a value proposition because you're like, oh hey, the average person is going to think I pay $50, $100 a month for my cell phone. Why am I going to buy another box to fix this reception that should work already anyway?
Yeah, definitely. Ross, now what's your take? I mean, the big problem I see with this is it's a $20 service fee on top of the $100 box that Matt just mentioned, and unless you have a specific case where you either have AT&T home phone service or AT&T internet. And
the $20 a month is only for unlimited. Actually, if you use your existing minutes, I think it doesn't cost anything monthly.
Oh, really? That's good to know. I mean, because that was a big sticking point for me when I must have misread the press release, and I was like, this doesn't make any sense. But if you can use your existing minutes, I mean, I guess it's just still kind of weird. But I don't know, Ross, what's your take on this?
Well, this is really aimed toward a consumer who needs to have better coverage in the home. It's a specific kind of coverage gap, and it doesn't even necessarily reflect too poorly on AT&T if they've been slow to roll this out because, maybe consumers have been relatively satisfied with their AT&T coverage in the house. When you compare it to something like Hotspot at Home, this allows somewhat better management of quality of service by the telco, and it will work with just about any AT&T phone. Whereas Hotspot at Home, it has to have Wi-Fi, and it opens up competition a little bit because other Hotspot, other Wi-Fi phones could possibly hop on.
So, Matt, you mentioned that this is sort of a concept consumers aren't totally into. What are the scenarios where like this is a home run? Is it simply just limited to like signal coverage in your house, or unlimited minutes with UMA, or I mean, for you, like, can you ever imagine using a device like this?
I personally can't. I kind of just sort of deal with it, really. I mean, I live in New York where AT&T coverage is notoriously bad, but I just kind of deal with it, and I think it's a really complicated concept anyway to try to get across to an everyday consumer. Oh, so you plug this little box into your modem, and then it makes the network, it funnels your phone calls through this thing into the AT&T network. And I mean, how do you get that across to an average consumer? Like, I couldn't even explain that to my mom.
Yeah, I mean, like a 30-second ad, I can't really imagine them being like, well, we take your calls, magically route them over the internet. It's kind of it's a goofy concept to explain it. But, I mean, again, like in UMA really saved my life when I was living in an area where T-Mobile was bad, whatever. I don't know, Ross, like regular consumers, Do you think they're going to be on board?
Yes, there are definitely some tricky technical details to it, but it's really all about if you're unhappy with your cellular coverage at home, here's a way to improve it, and maybe you can justify the cost by cutting your landline.
Yeah, I mean, that's really what it would come down to, is if that cost justification comes in, assuming that assuming you're already paying for a landline, maybe this is something you could use to cut out the landline. I mean, $20 a month for unlimited calls. Maybe you say, hey, I can get rid of my landline, whatever. I don't know. Sounds like it might work. Still half-baked in my mind, but hey, at least someone maybe will appreciate it. Guys, we're out of time, so we're going to leave it there. Matt Buchanan from Gizmodo, thanks for joining us. Also, thanks, Ross Rubin from the NPD Group, thanks for being with us as well. I'm Randall Bennett, and don't forget, you can catch us if you're using a T-Mobile hotspot or not on your iPhone. If you go through Ustream, we're streaming live now, so you can download the Ustream app and check us out there. Also, we're we're on the iTunes podcast directory, and we're on YouTube, and we're everywhere else. So see you later.